and stating what he thinks.
It's both. They were out-toughed against Northwestern. Northwestern seemed to get to more 50-50 balls, played very physical inside, and that defense, you mentioned Florida State, if they can get past Xavier, I'm worried about Florida State's length and physicality because Northwestern was more physical. But as a coach, absolutely, you're going to call your guys out a little bit and get their attention, get their ear before practice starts.
It's a slight 2-point favorite are the Terps against Xavier on Thursday night. All right, Virginia was oh so close to the Final Four. Remember that last season with a very talented team. This year's team not as good, but they are, of course, in the tourney again as a 5 seed at 22-10. We all know they can play defense. We shall see how far that will take them this year. Virginia, again, that 5 seed, and their journey starts early on Thursday as they'll face UNC Wilmington. It's also down in Orlando. Yeah, UVA can play that D, but they've got to find a way to score the ball more effectively. It's pretty simple stuff, but Virginia at times, it has been a struggle. UVA's opponent is a worthy one in UNC Wilmington. Seahawks won the CAA 29-5 record. They've won 7 straight games heading into the matchup with UVA. The top seed in that Eastern region is the defending champion Villanova Wildcats, 31-3, led by that kid, DC's own Josh Hart. Wildcats are the best team out of the Big East. They won the championship, probably just as good, if not better, right, than last season with that 31-3 mark. There's a Cinderella to root for. Mount St. Mary's out of Emmitsburg, Maryland, about 70 miles from D.C. In the big dance, winning the NEC tournament. The Mount plays in the first 4 on Tuesday against New Orleans in Dayton. That'll be at 5:40. All right, so Virginia Tech also congrats to the Hokies. They're in the East region as the 9th seed. Will face Wisconsin on Thursday, the 8th seed. It's a first appearance in the tournament for Virginia Tech since 2004. Bottom half of the draw, they are the 2 seed. There they are. There they are, Duke. Hot team right now. They have a nice path, to say the least, for the Blue Devils to get, once again, to the Final Four. All right, Danny and Steve, Virginia, we've seen them almost beat Villanova on the road, but when they, as obvious as it sounds, when their offense is sputtering, they have no shot, even as good as their defense is.
Absolutely, and UNC Wilmington's going to put that to the test. They get up and down. They've got some guys that can really get after it 94 feet. They shoot a lot of threes, and Virginia's defense will give you threes. And UNC Wilmington is not afraid to chuck them up.
No, they're not. The pace is something that's going to be an interesting contrast. It's one of those NFL matchups where you got a great defense against a wide-open offense. That's kind of what it's like here. UNC Wilmington, as Coach said, they do not have any fear. They are going to get up and down. They're going to chuck threes. If they go cold, they'll shoot till they get hot. If they're hot, they're going to stay hot with a bunch of those three-pointers as well. Tough draw for Virginia here because if they do get by UNC Wilmington, Coach, this Florida team I like more than I think a lot of people. People haven't talked much about Florida, and I understand that. A bit Jekyll and Hyde at times, but streaky. That's a tough matchup, and if you get through that, congratulations. Villanova's waiting for you. And if you somehow get by them, you got to get by Duke, who's you already touched on, Frank, is in fuego, mid-90s Dan Patrick style. This is a tough go of it here for UVA.
It's a very tough bracket. I disagree about Florida. They lost a player due to injury. I think that's going to come back to haunt them here. If UVA gets past Wilmington, that's a huge accomplishment. Villanova, though, they are the national champions still. I know we're not repeating. It's a different team, but it's the most disrespected national champion. I think they're better than last year. Josh Hart is the player I would take in this tournament to win a game. He's a winner. His teams produce defensively and offensively at a consistent pace.
Well, you're right about one thing. If Florida doesn't get by, East Tennessee State, the same team that beat Michigan State last year, brought a bunch of those kids back.
Oh, that's right.
They are nothing short of frisky, gentlemen. That's a tough go for UVA as well.
We're going to get your Final Four predictions a little bit later on in the program. I got some surprises. I'm sure they do too. All right, guys, coming up much more on the NCAA tournament as we break down, oh, there he is, Coach K, the other brackets. Stay with us here on Game On Overtime. Welcome back to Game On Overtime. All right, Kansas, top seed in the Midwest. They're always well coached, always tough. They got the guard play, the wing play. They had been number 1 at times during the regular season. They're the number 1 seed in the Midwest. Now, since winning that title back in 2008, Jayhawks have had some unlucky runs in the tourney, but they're always there. Will that be the case again this season? Well, we had a feeling that Michigan was a team of destiny after just making it to the Big Ten tourney after their plane skidded off the runway in Michigan. Wolverines winning 4 straight at Verizon Center, including the W over Wisconsin today to take the title, and they are actually a 7 seed in the Midwest.
Our message was somebody's going to do it. Why not us? And they really did. They came in, and this team is bonded, not just because of the events last Wednesday, but in the last month. We lost a home game to Ohio State, and our kids really felt bad about that. The coaches felt bad about that. After that, we gained an edge from that loss that has propelled us to this point.
Top half of that bracket, Kansas really has an ice cakewalk, don't they, to the Final Four. Michigan State's in there as well at 19-14, but they are just not that good this season. Rep got him in probably. Bottom half, Louisville's a 2 seed. No one's really talking about them. And my team, before that injury to one of their key players, Oregon, the 3 seed. I like the Ducks' chances, all right? Steve Howes, head man at Catholic. Danny Rhea, 1067 The Fan. Midwest, guys, Kansas. I mean, is it just punch them in, chalk?
To me, yeah. Kansas is great. It's Mason up top. It's Jackson on the wing and Lucas cleaning up down low. They are well coached. They're good. They can do everything right. That's my favorite out of that region. I got them in my Final Four.
Guards and defense win championships. They've got both. I think the best thing happened to them was losing in the conference tournament. Refocus them. But in that cakewalk to get there, I think Miami is the team that gives them the biggest challenge early. They're tested. Jim Larinaga knows how to coach in March. That's a scary game for Kansas.
Yeah, Miami's one of those teams where I saw that they should be better than their record is. So, yeah, it could be an interesting number 2 round matchup
high ceiling for them.
There is a high ceiling.
Yeah, high ceiling
the ceiling is the roof. All right, North Carolina, speaking of which, is one of the best scoring teams in the country. And when they play some defense, they're going to be a tough out. Plus, they've got that bad taste of being runner-up still in their mouths from a year ago. Tar Heels, the top seed in the South. They pretty much have a D-line at least to the Sweet 16. No chance they get upset, right? But when they do get to the Elite 8, there could be a chance for Kentucky. The Wildcats are looming. They are the 2 seed. Wildcats reloaded, ton of freshman talent, won the SEC tournament, rather. 29-5 record. They will be a handful for whoever they face. All right, look at the top half of the South region. You see that UNC probably will not be threatened. Maybe Butler out of the Big East. They've shown some signs, but that not much else from the Bulldogs. Bottom half, UCLA, another team a lot of folks are talking about, is a 3 seed. They got a lot of talent. Can they put it together and capture the glory days of the Bruins? All right, guys, in the South, it's UNC and Kentucky. Is this what we're looking at, a head-on collision?
UNC gets out in transition in a remarkable way. I like them going through to get in the Final Four. UCLA, Kentucky, those are incredible teams. Alonzo Ball for UCLA can take over. But I think UNC is on a mission to get back after getting beat at the buzzer last year.
A couple things I got in this bracket. Wichita State criminally underseeded by the committee as a 10 seed. They are not a 10 seed. They're probably one of the 10 best teams in the country at 30-4. No one will schedule them. That's why their out of conference isn't as good. That team beats Dayton. I've got them beating Kentucky in round number 2 because I'm a bit of a hipster. That's a group that I think could give some teams some fits. I love UCLA coming out of this bracket. I think Ball's a player of destiny. He is outstanding. They do everything well. I think they will guard in the tournament. I know that's a little bit scary of a proposition where now you'll play some defense, but I watched them dismantle Arizona at Arizona late in the season. That was one of the more impressive wins in the country to me this year. I like UCLA.
All right, real quick, Final Four and your eventual national chip. You got 10 seconds, Steve Howes.
Villanova, Notre Dame, Kansas, UNC. Villanova repeats.
Repeats.
Villanova does not make it because Duke does. Boo. Kansas makes it. I got UCLA making it. I got Arizona making it. Arizona cuts down the nets for the first time in a long time. Alonzo Trier, most outstanding player.
I will go with North Carolina. I will go with Kentucky. No, that's not possible. North Carolina, Purdue, Villanova, and Gonzaga. So almost a chalk. Almost had 5 teams in the Final Four. Guys, thank you so much.
That would be a special year.
That would be amazing. Coming up, the Redskins are losing off the field as well. The latest on what is next for the Burgundy and Gold when Game On Overtime returns. Going back to Game On Overtime, we all knew it was coming, and it was finally official last Thursday night. Redskins firing their GM, Scott McCloughan. He lasted 18 months on the job. He was canned on the very day that free agency started. Awful timing and a strange ending to a relationship that we were told was just fine a week ago. It wasn't. The Redskins are not winning off the field now. They are now the league's laughingstock once again with a move like this by team president Bruce Allen, who is calling the shots and the firings. I caught up with former Redskin and current broadcaster Doc Walker, who has seen a lot of things in his time with the Redskins.
If I have to tell a Redskin fan to have faith, they're not a Redskin fan. Okay? You know, man up. What's new? It's what we do. The bottom line is that how do you come out of it? That I don't know. But I know the people in the 60s and 70s stuck with this team when they were mediocre. Was I jolted? Yes. I thought we were moving in the right direction. But stuff happens. It's life. So I just say handle it like a family, not like a fraud.
What's your overall take on just the moving and the shaking, the moving parts with this team right now?
Well, the fact that they took care of need, position, and defensive tackle, two big guys, a hitter at safety, a freak of nature wide receiver. I hate losing guys that I love. You know, Swaggy, Jacks,